But anyway, speaking of the meteorite in Ohio, it did make me think again of like, you know, the NEOs, near Earth objects monitoring close by. NASA's always trying to look, but we're probably looking at like a percentage of what's even out there. We don't know what all the bodies are near us,
which is scary,
which is crazy. And so like technically an NEO is what falls between 1.3 astronomical units. So like there's a big distance, but still, but that still means that they have the potential of crossing Earth's path.
Wait, 1.3 from us?
1.3 from the sun.
Oh, okay.
So like there's a range from us to the sun and a little bit behind.
I was going to say from us, man, that really includes.
Yeah, like a lot in that case.
Oh, okay.
But so there's quite a few NEOs that we're monitoring and still not enough because there's obviously a lot out there that we don't know. And I think Nancy Grace Roman is also going to help look for more and things like that.
It reminds me of that line in Armageddon. Why didn't you detect this before? Our budget is 1%, and we have enough budget for 1% of the sky. And forgive me for the swearing, but it's a big goddamn sky.
Yeah, no,
or whatever. And I'm like,
I'm glad that they threw that in because yes, like how do you expect
to catch everything
especially when you don't even have funding? But also, guys, it's a fucking sky. It's a universe. Like, how much do you think is actually being tracked?
No, I always have this fun little game where if the sky is clear enough, and I'm not in Los Angeles, where if you look at one star and you just shift your finger a little bit. You're like, depending on how far out you go, you're talking about like billions of light years. Yeah. Just from this.
Yeah.
Depending on, I don't know. There's something about that's why I went into mathematics, because it's stuff like that I'm just like, what?
This is too much. Yeah.
Like, how do you, is that how traveling interstellar wise could work? Is if you pick the right pivot point? That's where my brain started to go. And, you know,
maybe.
It's like, what if it's just about pivoting space? You have to move space somehow manually. You can't do it the way we're doing. But I used to think about that stuff like, okay, if I'm pointing, I just move a little bit. We're talking about.
Yeah. A whole swath of crap out there. And oh my God. I always not gave up, but I'm just like, I feel like the universe, our existence is just a tease because I really don't know how we're ever going to navigate space.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the vastness of it. And that's so sad and frustrating to me of like being such controlling creatures that we can't. And we will never explore even like a percentage of this universe.
It depends on how long we survive for, in what way we evolve, and how long we can keep this train going. Because like,
the universe is so big. Girl.
I know, but if you were to tell, again, I always use my grandmother because the age gap in my family is like so outrageous. She was born over 100+ years ago. And I just always think like, man, if somebody went up to her, World War I had just happened. They were fighting on horseback with swords. You know, and you're telling this woman, like, oh, yeah, you're going to be able to, like, hold up a device and communicate in real time with your face. We're going to go to the moon. We're going to go to Mars. We're going to deploy things all out into the solar system. She'll be like, she won't even know what those words are.
Yeah.
She'll be like, what are you talking about? Flight. You can go to any country in the world you want right now. Yeah. You have the money, right?
Yeah.
But like, you can go right now.
If
you want, and you can get there by tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, and I think my family came here via boat because I don't think there were commercial planes back then. Because I think they got here around World War II time. I don't think commercial planes were. I think that was the 60s, right? Idea. Commercial jets.
Because they have, right? Pan Am and all that.
They had planes, I know, but they didn't. I don't think. But yeah, they got here like Titanic style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my grandparents kind of generation, and I'm just like,
I know,
man, telling her that you can get on a plane. She was on this boat for like weeks.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, but if you can get on a plane for like 18, and I bitch about, oh my God, if I have to sit in economy for 12 hours, I start complaining. No. And then I think about like my grandmother for 3 weeks in the bottom of a boat. And I'm like,
totally.
Right,
scurvy is everywhere. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I should shut the fuck. Yeah. But yeah, so like, who knows?
I know. Exponential technological increase. I get that. Yeah. I agree. But it's just like the universe is so vast.
I know.
It's like I get like we have this technological boom on Earth that's like an understandable scope. But then now we're talking the rest of the cosmos, and I'm like, I just don't think it's ever going to be possible.
Because it's bending space. That's the challenge. And then finding a way for us not to get crushed to death, moving through that.
Oh, sure.
So like those are the two challenges, is acceleration on your body, right? Because it's cool if we could build a ship that goes 90% the speed of light, but like what's the point if you have to slowly get there incrementally so you don't kill everybody on
Yeah, that's right. And then slow down.
And then decelerate. Yeah, and you're talking, so it's like, oh, it's still a huge trip.
It is.
What difference did that?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay, if we can conquer manipulating space and then somehow the acceleration problem, it's like, we could pretty much go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know? But who knows if that's possible?
Even like Star Wars, you know, until this moment, I thought it was always contained to one galaxy. And I'm like, okay, I can get behind that. Now this bitch goes to another one. Oh, I can't.
You don't even want to know how. It's space
scales.
whales. It's space whales.
That sounds like a
I'm going to put an image here. For people who don't know, they're going to be like, that is stupid.
That sounds so dumb, but like magical at the same time.
Oh, because how the lore is, the canon, because I even read the books, is that those space whales are what traveled interstellar before humans figured it out. And then the
Sounds
Jedi,
like some Rick and Morty shit, I swear.
Yeah, so these space whales were the only ones that could tap into like these pathways through space. And then the Jedi kind of came out of nowhere. Well, they weren't Jedi at the time, but they were sensitive to the same thing. And so originally only the Jedi could travel through interstellar space because they could also sense what the whales could sense. And now, you know, you can plug it into a machine. But that was the progression.
Space whales.
Whales.
Okay.
They came from space whales.
Okay, fascinating.
One of them rides one. Oh no, they're in the ship and I think they're going through like the tunnel.
Okay.
You know that you see in Star Wars and a whale pops up. At that point I was like, get me out of here. What are we doing?
It really just sounds like some Rick and Morty stuff where it's funny and so like you can get away with it. Oh my God. Okay, fascinating.
Space whales.
Space whales.
That's from the Rebel series, I'm pretty sure.
That's how she goes to another galaxy.
Yep. Well, I watched it all, read it all.
Yeah.
I love that lore.
Space whales. See, this is why Star Wars is more fantasy than it is sci-fi.
Oh,
it's a space fantasy.
100%. Yeah.
Space fantasy.
It's complete
Get behind
horseshit.
it. Yeah.
I love it though.
I love it. I love it. I mean, just the fact that they can communicate instantaneously is just already done. I'm done at that point. So amazing. Yeah.
Speaking of something that I didn't know was real, did you look into Doggerland?
No, you sent it to me, but have at it because I didn't look.
Okay, I like stumbled upon it. I mean, this is the best part about being a STEM communicator is like no matter how many years you do it and no matter what you specialize in, there's always some like massive thing that pops up that you're like, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
So I was researching. Somebody had said there are no snakes in Ireland, and I was like, really?
Okay.
I mean, it's not something I would have thought about. So I was like, okay. And I'm like, oh well, it's cold. I guess so. And so, and then I found out New Zealand doesn't have them. These are native species, right? People can have pets and stuff, whatever. New Zealand doesn't have them. I think Greenland, and then like obviously Antarctica or whatever. And I was like, Ireland, so random, but England does? Like, how can they're right next to each other? So apparently, when the Ice Age had happened and the ice was receding about 10,000 years ago, Ireland had broken off, right? So the snakes can't travel via ice, and then they couldn't swim. Right, we're talking about land snakes. Yeah. So Ireland just never got them, right? And then it's too cold, so they can't survive it, whatever. England, apparently, Britain apparently was connected to the continent of Europe for thousands of years after that in what's called Doggerland.
Oh.
So I'll put up a map, but it was Britain and then all this land mass like up to Norway.
Okay.
That was all land. There were hunter-gatherers there.
Yeah.
And they know about them because they go down to the seabed and they find human remains and tools.
Wow.
Like in the North Sea, which didn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, how did I not? And it was semi-recent.
Yeah.
I always screw up saying this, that the oldest temple in the world in Turkey, Göbekli Tepe.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That place. I always move the L and I say it wrong. And I was just thinking, I was like, okay, that's like the first time where like humans are building something big, a temple. There's like a city here. It's one of the coolest sites. This was at the right time where they could have just walked to Britain. Doggerland was around at that time.
Right.
And I'm like, they would have had no concept of that being an island. It's just an island now.
Yeah, it is now.
And it's a huge one. And I just thought this was so cool. So there was no North Sea. What was there instead was hills, marshland, wooded valleys, swamps, and lagoons. Wow. And then around 6,000 years ago, which honestly, the pyramids are like 5-ish, right?
Yeah,
so this
5,000,
This isn't really like long ago. Apparently it got flooded. I don't know if it was because it was the last of the ice just rushing in and the land was so low or whatever. And so apparently the people that lived there who were hunter-gatherers, so these weren't like cities and stuff, apparently some fled to Britain and some fled to Netherlands, and that's how they got split.
Gotcha.
And then you couldn't see each other again until they built ships.
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly.
Figured all that out.
Later, yeah.
And all the evidence is on the seafloor, which
that's so cool.
They probably found from trying to get oil and stuff, and they were like, why are there human remains?
Yeah, right?
You know what I mean? Or like tools, or maybe there weren't human remains. I don't know how the water would have destroyed it, but it's cold. Maybe it preserved it. But they found tools. Yeah. I know at least they found tools.
No, it probably was like on the hunt for something commercial. And then they're like, oh shit, what is this?
Wait until you see the map. Done. It's huge. Like, have I never heard the word Doggerland?
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Either.
Never.
I had no idea what it was.
Pretty recent.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah, I love that. I just thought that was the coolest thing. And I was like, just because I was trying to figure out why snakes weren't in Ireland.
Yeah, there you go.
And you just go down this rabbit hole. I love that one guy who his whole thing is, how many Wikipedia pages does it take to get to, like, I think he was saying like Jeffrey Epstein or something. And he started with Queen Elizabeth.
And somehow.
And how many links does it take? And it was like 3.
No, that's not going to be much.
But like, that's me. That's what I do. I'm like, okay, I'm starting with Ireland and snakes. How many links does it take to get me to like Doggerland?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I love
tectonic
that
plates.
Stuff.
No, I did too.
So cool.
Our Earth is constantly shifting, and I've tectonic plates have always just blown my mind. Like these things that are just shelves that are just moving underneath the surface and is constantly changing our Earth. So like almost it's so impossible for anything to be purely preserved. Like we're just shape shifting all the time.
That's actually one of the nice things about Venus. They think is that there is no movement. So if we were able to get there and go to the surface to drill or something,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they think this has probably been sitting here for a long time.
That's interesting. Why do they think that? They don't think it has a molten core? Or
no, it does. It's just the tectonic plates are completely different. They don't move like ours do.
Okay.
They think, but like,
who knows?
Yeah, we have no information. So I was like, that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
That's what I always love telling people about my hometown or like the Appalachians in general is like they used to be the biggest. Now they're the smallest just because the plates are separating.
Totally.
But they were once bigger than the Himalayas.
Yeah.
Taller.
Taller, sure.
Yeah.
I know, which is crazy. I know too, like speaking of land bridges, it's fun because Sri Lanka used to be connected, obviously, to India.
Sure, yeah.
And then in Hindu mythology, I forgot what the story is, but when you go there now, I want to say that there are like these big boulders that are probably a bit covered by water now that led to the island of Sri Lanka.
What?
And they tied it to a mythology story too. I forgot exactly what the mythology story was, but there's this god like Hanuman. I think he built that bridge, the stone bridge to get there, and you see like evidence for it now too, which I just think is so fun. I actually don't know. I have no idea.
It's got to be miles.
It's got to be far. It's got to be pretty far. But like it's just cool when you even like Greek mythology does that too, where they like tie mythological stories to natural phenomenon that we see. Even though there is like a scientific explanation or whatever. Right. And I just think that's so cool. Wait, storytelling.
So they weren't made by people. It's just like a natural phenomenon?
I am pulling the story out of my ass right now because I'm like, I vaguely remember hearing this as a kid. So I have no idea. I'd have to verify. But
because it's like the Giant's Causeway, where it looks like people carved it, but it's actually, no, that's just like a natural
that's just what it is.
phenomenon. So it's like possible that there could just be...
Exactly, but it could look like it's also man or human made or whatever. Right. But yeah, it's just like it's just our ever changing Earth. There's always like these people who are on the hunt for Atlantis, and there's like like what they claim a potential underwater continent in the Pacific.
In the Pacific?
Yeah, and like a corner of it.
Where are we going now?
It's just like, I don't know if there's any evidence. It's just like what some of these like, they're not conspiracy people, but they're like looking for Atlantis in their own weird,
Pacific.
But like a giant one that's in the Pacific, and like whatever island is still left from it is whatever island that actually exists today. It would be a corner of that continent.
Okay, so how the fuck did the Greeks know about it?
I haven't... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
They're
right.
the ones that talked about it.
Yeah, right. Plato is the one who talked about it. But there's something like, could this have been where Atlantis was or whatever? And I'm not sure.
It's in the wrong spot. Like whenever I don't know, that kind of reminds me too of the Bermuda Triangle, which I thought would be a bigger problem than it turned out to be. I thought that was a landmass for like the longest time.
Because we heard a lot about it when we were kids, and you don't hear about it anymore.
And now, like, do crashes never happen?
I know, that's right.
Like, was there just like one period of time?
Yeah.
Where the government was just shooting down anybody? I don't know.
Yeah,
that was like coming around.
No, probably.
Because I've sailed through that area before.
Yeah, like you don't hear about it anymore.
Shit ever. I've sailed through that.
Through the Bermuda.
I've sailed through that.
No, but like, yeah, you don't hear about it. It was funny because like the other day too, I seeing these like memes online. They're like, I feel like when we were kids, quicksand was a bigger deal.
Yeah, because that stupid movie, or that was Mud, I think, with the kid in the horse. And
yeah, with the mud. I don't know the name of the movie, but I know the scene.
God, I hate that scene. I was like, this movie, no.
You'd see something about quicksand in movies here and there, and everyone thought that they'd have to really prepare for it.
And now I never deal with it.
No, you never even hear about quicksand anymore.
Even where I grew up, it's like impossible to have it anyway. So
yeah.
Like,
where were we? Was I going to be in Egypt somewhere? Like in The Mummy, there had a quick scene where they were sinking into quicksand. So where was I going to ever encounter quicksand, y'all?
Like literally, and I've been there, and there was
no, exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm like, at no point was I
like
sinking.
A big trope of like 90s storytelling was throwing quicksand in there somewhere. I don't know why. Or a bog.
The only thing you do need to look at when you go out far west enough in Egypt is there are more landmines in Egypt than any other country in the world.
There you go. Fun
so
facts.
I ran through an area that apparently had them, and I didn't realize that. So when you go to Egypt, not anymore, but back in the day, you used to basically stay with one family, and they were just kind of your everything. They did everything with you. Yeah. You went to their uncle's shop. You stayed with their cousin down in some other town. Like, you just kind of like hovered around one person. And I'll never forget, this guy's name was Abdul. And I was trying to get a picture of something, and he was talking to my roommates, and I wasn't really paying attention because I'm an idiot, and I was 20, so spare me. But and I just like started running off, and I guess he didn't like see me or something, and I just kind of was like walking through the sand. But then I started to run because I was like, oh, I'm gonna run out of time. And I looked back because I got the picture. And I looked back, and my roommates are, like, waving at me. And Abdul was waving at me. And I'm like, it's kind of weird. Because Abdul was, like, a very quiet kind of... He didn't have the personality of, like, hey. Yeah. Like, so I was like, oh, that's weird. I wonder why he's waving. And now I found out it's because they were trying to tell me that there were landmines where I was.
That white bitch.
I was like, oh, yeah, let me tell you. The first time I went to the Middle East, I didn't know anything. By the time now I'm like, you know...
Yeah, well-versed, for sure.
Yeah, now I know something. I also know the slang term for them is toe poppers.
Okay. Ooh, ew.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah. I mean, if you go into like the tourist area, you're fine. Yeah. Jesus, they've like cleared all that out. But we were like, we were in no man's land.
Yeah, there you go.
So I love that picture because my roommate's waving at me and I'm like, hi. And I'm waving back like an idiot.
Oh my God. And one wrong step to the right or left.
Yeah. After that, Abdul was like, do not go anywhere and do not talk to anybody. And I was like, okay, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, damn.
I loved his family though. Yeah. Super nice people.
But see, you learn the hard way in the third world. I came from the third world, so I already knew. Not about landmines, but just life, how it could exist outside of America.
I liked Abdul's thing because he was like, I know you don't know this stuff, but I will only say it once. And I was like, no, totally fair. Yeah. Totally fair. Like, how are you supposed to know? Right. But his thing was, now you do. Yeah. So are you still going to be an asshole? Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, no, I won't. I promise. I'll be well behaved now. Yeah. My roommates are like, do we need a leash for you? Jesus.
Probably.
I was like, I'm sorry.
I know, exactly.
I will not do that. And to this day, I never venture off anywhere. No. Because we went to Jordan one time, and I think we were like a few miles outside of Petra because there's a couple of stuff to see out in Wadi Rum and stuff. And I wanted to just literally walk 20 feet. I'm not even joking. I wasn't even really going anywhere. And that guy's name was Muhammad. And Muhammad. And I remember he didn't grab my arm because they're not allowed to do that kind of stuff. But he like waved in front of me. And he was like, do not go up there.
Okay.
And it was like 20 feet. And I was like, why? Just like, that looks like a cool spot. I just want to see what's up there. And he's like, it was a rough translation, but the translation into English was, there are sand people up there. And I thought of Star Wars. Like,
I know, totally. Yeah.
Like, but those were his words.
No, totally.
And then and that was when I was like 22, and then I really stopped venturing.
Right.
I just stayed with the family, and I never left their side.
No, oh my God,
and I was
don't.
like, okay, never leave the family.
Never. Yeah. We can't be brave or ignorant like that. In
you can't be brave
like
there.
No. Even in India, I'm like, just stay with people that you know. I wouldn't, especially as a woman, I wouldn't venture off. Yeah, no, absolutely. Sand people, that's so funny. That was
a translation. I was like, he can't really mean that, can he? But I'm like, I know the word for sand, and I know the word for people.
And
I'm pretty sure
you
just said sand people.
Yeah.
It's like one of the first words you learn was sand.
Right, sand.
And person.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm like...
But there is a funny Family Guy reference, too, because we got to get one in every recording.
The Pakistani alarm clock.
That one, but no, there was a specific sand people one where, like, Quagmire, he has, like, a baby left on his doorstep, and it is his. Obviously, and he wants to give it up for adoption, so he takes it to an adoption center, and then but he's getting attached to it, so he's like, you're not gonna leave it with like sand people, are you? And the woman is like, you mean from Star Wars? And he's like, no. But yeah, it's just everybody likes Star Wars.
God, they're so offensive.
They
do not care.
They don't give a fuck.
Damn.
Yeah, still not as bad as bad. I enjoy that humor, but like as bad as South Park. Which they just go even farther.
They go as hard as they can.
This was prior to when Family Guy PC'd themselves. They did do that for a long time. And this was like during their peak era where they were just funny as fuck. So, no.
Because when he said that, when he said there were sand people up there, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I heard. The other thing, too, that cracks me up about this translations is this cheese that they have out there that I was addicted to this stuff. And you can get it pretty much any Middle Eastern country. And they always have it, like, it's always around for breakfast. And they have jams and stuff, too. Fruit grows, they're very big into, like, jams and that kind of stuff. And I would eat just this cheese and jam. I'm not even joking.
Good, though.
Yeah, no, it's super good. And I remember asking, I'm like, what is this cheese? I've never seen this in America. I have no idea what it is. And the translation, they would say, was white cheese. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's white and I know it's cheese, but, like, what is it called? Like, what is the name? And one of my friends from Cairo who was like working in Europe at the time, totally fluent in English. Like, so I could be like, hey, what is that? Right. Is it Gouda? It wasn't Gouda, but like, you know what I mean? Like, what is it? He's like, it's literally called white cheese. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, he's like, you heard right.
Okay.
It's just called white cheese.
It's just called, yeah.
Like, God, I love that stuff and I want to buy it here. But like, if I go to the
and be like, hey, can I have white cheese?
Yeah. Like, I'd have to go to like a specialty, like a Middle Eastern joint and be like, okay, the white cheese.
Yeah.
And they'd probably be like, white cheese.
Yeah.
I'm like,
cheese.
So
we have only that and yellow. Because like countries like that, because in India too, like we're not known for cheeses. We have paneer. It's like one kind of cheese and it's a white cheese. And the only word for it that I know of is paneer. So like it's probably the same way.
It's like chai.
Sandy people. Yeah, chai actually just like means tea.
Yeah.
When people hear like, I want chai tea, I'm like, you want tea? Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
I love that. I'm like, why did we do that in English?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
Everywhere in the world, chai is
it's just chai.
But
like you know what it is. Because
it's a flavor.
Because you know, yeah, right. It's a flavor. I want chai tea latte. You want tea latte.
Like, okay.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much.
Look, Starbucks has corrupted me. Okay, I don't know.
No, for sure. Yeah, I wonder why. I never thought about like everywhere else in the world that they
everywhere
that stuff.
Chai is the word for tea in almost like.
But you know, Americans kind of ruin everything. We're walking.
We love that. That's what we do. It's our
walking
thing.
Here today to record, and there's this like Venice festival happening outside, and there's this bitch on stage with a bunch of people. Just doing yoga.
I saw that and I'm like
shit out of the words and I'm like I was so annoyed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, she had said something that I was just like, what? She had said something like moving too fast is chaos and I was like,
oh my God, shut up.
Well, for me too, chaos is like a mathematical concept. So I was like
she meant it in like
can you not?
But like, oh my God, just drives me crazy that they bastardize and monetize off of everybody else's culture.
It is a huge economic boon.
Oh my God. Yeah. Stuff, which and then but then at the same time has the audacity to like shit on India as being a third world country.
Yeah.
But like
that's our favorite thing to do.
No,
we love shitting on people if we even think about them.
Yeah.
You know, like
that's right.
That joke in Europe where like they think about us all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like John Hamm, I don't think about you at all.
At all.
You know, and it's like,
no, that's so true.
We really don't. We're just in our own universe, just wreaking havoc.
We really are. For some reason, like Americans want to exotify words, so like they chakras, right? The things
I know
that
this
they
is
talk about.
But what does exotify mean again?
Well, I think I'm making up that word, but they like want to add accents to it, like exotify.
I think I'm making up that word.
Yeah, like I don't think exotify.
It was a critical word.
I don't think exotify is a real word. I like adverbed it. Like they want to add an exotic flair to these words.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I mean.
I was thinking of like exotify, like law term, like what is it called when you're like you're free to go?
Oh, like you're exonerated?
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about. I was like, I don't know where we are.
They want to add an exotic flair to a word because it's foreign.
That's so what I was like, wait.
My bad. All right. So to clarify, I made it up. It's like I made up that word. But like a chakra, you've heard the word. Like, you know, you see the images of it. But for some reason, even though it's a fucking CH, Americans want to make it like a chakra. Chakra. I'm like, no, it's a CH. You have that word.
Weird.
You have that sound.
That's my thing with Russian.
Yeah.
We have these letters.
You have the sound. Why are you trying to say chakra? It's a CH. Yeah. It's a chakra. But they do that. Because chakra. Or like in Aladdin, like her tiger's called Raja, but they want to say Raja. Like you have the J letter.
Wait, you know what's so weird about that too is English doesn't have a J letter. Right, because that's like a very French thing.
Yeah, right.
Like English doesn't really have je.
Yeah.
So it's like, why did you?
So why are you doing
that? It's not even
that?
English.
It's not. Raja in Hindi means king. So like, why are you adding a je sound when we don't even say Raja?
And we don't even have that as a letter.
Exactly. But they want to exotify it.
I love when I bring up the je thing and everybody's like, no, what about deja vu? And I was like,
that's a French
you know
word.
What I mean? Like, every time they think of a word, I'm like, not English.
It's not English.
Yeah.
Holy crap. But yeah, like just no. Say it the way it's fucking written, please.
Oh, the thing that I will mention before I go, since I haven't
talk about
said anything yet, but so I wanted to start the series where I go to labs across the country and try to highlight the things that they're working on. And when I first approached it, I realized that one of the biggest problems is every major lab has like tons of different projects going on and a lot you don't know about. The papers aren't out yet.
Sure.
You're not part of the funding conversations. Like, how is the average person supposed to know? And so I'm like, okay, so this makes it a little bit challenging. So I decided to take the materials engineering angle because this is like my Venus thing. Where it's I will not shut up about Venus. I will also not shut up about material science. I don't think it's going to be like the IT boom of the 90s and early 2000s, but I think it will be close. Where like can you imagine telling somebody in the 70s to go to school for computer engineering?
Right.
They're like, what are you talking about? And you're like, oh, it helped get the Apollo missions up. You'd be like, okay, but still, you're not selling me. Materials science, I think, is kind of like that right now because chemistry is like a big element of it. A lot of people struggle with chemistry. But we are going to need materials for fusion, for example, that can withstand high pressure, high temperature, and just a lot of the materials we have, it's just not there yet. I mean, think about, oh my God, on it again, the Titan submersible. Well, like that was a great example of the failure of him appreciating material science. And like, I get you think carbon fiber is this thing, and it's not in these conditions. It's just not. And so we're going to need new materials to do something, as simple as going down into the ocean. Studying the sun, getting close enough to it, see how close we can actually get. You know what I mean? And
well, Parker Solar Probe technically has touched it, but even going closer.
Yeah, why not? Like, I mean, if we can develop materials, right? That's what my whole point is that like a lot of kids, they go to college, they've never even heard of that. They sign up for engineering as a general, and maybe they take a chemistry class and their teacher mentions it and they're like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. But, universities won't create these majors unless there's a big demand for it. And materials science right now, it's like, it's not as big as it should be. Like a lot of STEM people have heard of it, but it's like, no, but we need so much more recruitment. This field matters. And there needs to be a big push and investment into it. That's not happening right now. It's like Venus, where it's like, in 200 years, fruits of our labor. I think material science is going to be kind of like that. We need to start like really investing and really have a huge influx of students that are like, I want to build something crazy. I want to discover some kind of material that can survive temperatures of Venus. I don't know. And so I'm like, that's the angle I'm going to take. So when I've been approaching all these labs, I'm like, I want to talk to all your material scientists because they all have them. And I did one interview with one once where I was trying to have her talk about why what she does matters. They don't even think about it. And it's just crazy. And I was like, okay, well, how can this be applied to everyday life? And she's like, it can't. Like the thing she was working on, which fair, it can't. I'm like, is it fireproof? And she was like, to an extent. I'm like, could it be in an induction oven or something like that? And I saw her face light up where she finally knew what I meant. And she was like, oh, yeah. I mean, she's like, once we like lock in some of the stuff that we're working on, if it's successful, like, I mean, you could make a house fireproof. And I was like, there you go.
There you go. That's the angle.
That's what people care about.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So I've been approaching all these labs with that angle of like, I think material science is going to be the next big boom that we need, an influx of careers. We need kids to know about it. And I need to make it interesting because I know for some of them, chemistry is a tough one. I have discovered if you ever want to pursue something like that, you have to have an angle. They want you to have an angle. If I was just like, I just want to see what you got. They're like, shut the fuck up. Come back when you have something.
They don't got time for that.
They're like, no, tell me what you want. And so I've been going in at that angle. And everybody I've talked to so far has been like,
actually,
a lot of these people, they've warned me. They're like, they don't have camera experience or something. I'm like, oh, it's okay. Because, they just need to talk about something that they know a lot about. And that blew my mind. Like, wow, really? You don't ever push this?
No, right. Like, they don't think to.
And there's a part of me that I'm like, am I high? Does this career not matter that much? Like, why am I the only one? Like, I can't be the first going up to these labs being like, your material science department, I think, is going to be critical for the future. And they're like, what? Really?
You might be, dude, because I've never heard of, like, you're still trying to bridge the gap between what fucking labs and then, like, the general public. So they're not going to that job thinking about what they're doing could impact everybody's future.
Apparently not. And
like daily life. Yeah.
It's blowing my mind. And then the other thing, they kind of pushed back a little bit where I was like, I want to talk to a blue collar worker here.
Yeah.
Because like, you got all the engineers and scientists and all the white lab coats. And it's like, that's pretty cool. But like, I want to talk to a mechanic who didn't even expect to be here. And it's all the same shit. And the picture of the chemical engineer was cracking me up. When you just look at someone's picture and you're like, you're living your best life. Like, you're just so happy to be alive.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know if she had just gotten hired and they immediately took her picture. Like, what? But she's, like, psyched.
Yeah.
And, like, she's going to be fun.
Okay, sweet.
To talk to. It's just a lot of women.
Yeah. That's so cool. Which is really cool.
Yeah, but that are in charge. Yeah. These are the chief positions. And I'm like, did you do that on purpose? Or really is all of your upper management women?
Yeah, totally.
Because that's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. That's my goal. So that's my hope.
Sounds like it's happening.
So hopefully this week I'll have, it's going to take forever to get all that footage together and like, finish all that up. But
are you editing yourself? No. Okay, I was going to say maybe don't do that one.
I hired a DP and the DP hired a PA. I have like a full little team.
And who's editing?
I have my own guy that I've been working with for a while. Yeah. So.
Oh my God, any editor in this town too is dying to work. So
he's not here. Oh, he was. And then he moved, I think, during COVID.
There you go.
Yeah, I know. But the DP lives here.
Gotcha.
So the PA lives in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I have my own little team.
Totally. Oh my God. No, I know a ton of production people who would love to be hired on any job in LA at this point.
Well, the PA, the reason why we wanted to get somebody local is because they apparently, see, I don't know, I'm learning all this stuff, but you need someone local who has the equipment because you can't fly with some of the stuff unless you get permits in advance, which I don't.
No, that's crazy.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
So my management team was like, we'll fly in a DP because it's better that he lives in the same place as you so you can do other projects.
Yeah.
And he's just always the guy that comes with you.
Yeah.
PA should be local because we need that equipment. So that guy lives in Chicago and he's just going to drive and meet us.
Yeah, there you go. Also, like a PA, it's like they are important. I'm not saying that at all, but like
there's a lot of them.
Yes,
there are. Yeah,
there are absolutely. So those generally for sure hire locally. That'll be cool though. Excited to see the footage.
Yeah. So spring 2028. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully a lot sooner than that. Yeah. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, with that being said, guys, we'll see you next time.
Peace.